Hey everyone, Naman here. So this video is going to be a different trajectory from the normal videos that I upload on my YouTube channel. And in this video, I just want to talk to the 4 people who probably watch me consistently. I just want to share a few things that I have to say, my thoughts, my perspective on the YouTube channel and on life in general. So that's what this video is. And yeah, so the reason I don't do these videos very often where I'm talking about myself is because I really like to focus on providing value, and this goes back to what I've seen from a lot of accomplished individuals. The first of whom is my dad. He's somebody that I really look up to. And one key piece of advice that he's given me is focus on providing value. Focus on providing authentic value. And that's the key to success in business and in life in general. And the reason I believe in that is because I've seen parallels from a lot of accomplished individuals. So I remember Lex Fridman talking to Elon Musk, and he asks Elon, what advice would you give to young people? And among other things, Elon mentions, try to be useful to the humans around you. And I think that's especially true in business, because essentially business is you're providing value in exchange for money. And so if you can really narrow down your focus onto providing value in business, then the money follows. And this reminds me of Steve Jobs talking about a piece of advice that he got, where if you focus on the top line in business, everything else follows. So the top line is how satisfied are your customers? How good is your product? If you focus on product and you focus on the team and you focus on the people, then everything else that's supposed to happen in a business will follow. So focus on the top line. And this goes back to something that I remember Jeff Bezos saying, where he talks about, as a CEO, it's very natural to start worrying about the stock price and the financial performance of a company. But what he did was he reverse engineered what causes the stock price to go up and what causes the financial performance to do well. And what he found was that all of this comes from, again, the top line in business, which in this case was how satisfied are your customers? How good is your service? What's the feedback from customers? And if you can really nail that, then everything else, so the stock price and the financial performance, will automatically handle itself and do great. So that applies to me on this YouTube channel. I just want to focus on providing value by teaching AI to the people who watch me. And so that's the way I approach it, and that's why my videos are very direct, very focused on teaching as much as I can. Obviously, I try to keep that personal connection as well as much as I can, but my main focus is on trying to teach AI to the people who watch me. And we're at 7,735 subscribers at the time I'm recording this video. And that might be a small number for a lot of people, but for me, that's a huge number. I'm very, very deeply passionate about YouTube. And my approach, again, I remember Brian Chesky, the founder of Airbnb, and Paul Graham talking about this at Y Combinator, and this is one of their core philosophies at Y Combinator, is do things that don't scale. So instead of building something that 1 million people like, try and build something that 100 people really, really, really love. And in the long term, that's a very successful business strategy. So again, for me, that applies to my YouTube channel. I just want to make videos that teach AI very effectively, very efficiently to the people who watch me. And I'm not worried about the scale of this. I just want to focus on teaching AI to the people who do watch me, to the 4 people, 5, 10 people who consistently watch me. And if I can do that to the best of my ability, then everything else should follow. Both of those philosophies are things that I try to think about. Again, this video is just my thoughts, so I'm just going to talk about what goes on in my mind. This is what I think about 24/7, so I'm very passionate about YouTube and entrepreneurship. I've had a lot of passions in my life growing up. The major one was sports and still is, but apart from that, it's been YouTube and entrepreneurship. So both of those things are what I'm going to be talking about in this video, just my approach to both those things. So that's what I think about when I think about how I want to take this channel further. So I don't really want to focus on the algorithm and all the numbers. This is something that I've really, really been thinking about in the past few days. I want to focus on what Neil Mohan said, the CEO of YouTube. He talks about, as a creator, what's very important for us is to maintain the connection that we have with our audience and to develop a connection with our audience. I remember when I was younger, this is 10 years ago, I was watching YouTube growing up. I've spent tens of thousands of hours on YouTube as a viewer. And I remember watching Mr. Beast, DanTDM, Dude Perfect, The Odd Ones Out, Jaden Animations, Marquez Brownlee. And, I still watch YouTube today, hours every single day. And so I've evolved. I've seen the platform grow and I've seen myself grow on YouTube. But one thing that's remained constant is the connection between the viewer and the creator. And I think that's what the essence of YouTube is, in my opinion. So instead of focusing on the numbers game, the views, the subscribers, watch time, and things like that, I want to focus on that. And again, that's the top line. Everything else should follow. So for me, it's really about whenever I'm trying to pursue something, focus on the top line. Focus on the most important things. So for a business, that would be focus on the product, the service, and how satisfied are your customers, and how good are the people that you work with. And everything else should automatically follow. And so on YouTube, that is, how can I make the best videos possible teaching AI? And everything else should follow. That's my approach to the channel. That's what I'm going to try and, use as my lens for viewing this entire game of YouTube. So that's that. AI is very exciting, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur. I remember one of the co-founders of YouTube, Joed Karim, talking at a commencement address, and he's talking about how in order to get a startup idea, the best way is to constantly be in that space and constantly be updated with what's going on. And so AI is huge, and I'm trying to be here, be present, understand the landscape, understand how this is going to play out. It's very exciting. I remember Sam Altman talking about this at Y Combinator. He says that the best time to start a company is when there's a technological wave coming. And that is happening in the present with AI. And AI is going to go on for a couple of decades. So, the adoption curve. So as an entrepreneur, I'm still trying to figure out, what the best businesses would be and the way I can position myself in the upcoming economy. And it's very exciting. This is all very complex, but it's also something that I very, very deeply have a passion for. So that's what my view is on AI. The reason I've chosen AI is very personal for this YouTube channel. So when I was younger, around 5 years ago, I tried learning Python and JavaScript, and my goal was to build applications and then eventually find clients and make money. But in all honesty, I was not great at it. I was not great at programming, and so I could not do that. But fast forward 5 years, and I can build amazing applications because of the power of AI. And now I have that. I have clients and I'm making more money than I'll ever need because of that. So, that's something that I really, really, that feels magical to me, like the power of AI. It reminds me of that quote that Elon talks about in a commencement address that he gives, where he's talking about significantly advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And it isn't his quote, but he refers to it. And this really does apply here, because if 5 years ago you told me that you could build any app that you want, any website that you want, by just typing natural language prompts in English and AI builds that out for you, I would have said that's magic. And you can apply this to longer timeframes. If you said to people thousands of years ago that you could talk to anybody, anywhere in the world with a device that would be the size of your hand, they would have said that's magic. But significantly advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And so AI is an example of that I've lived through. I'm lucky enough to see that evolve. 5 years ago, I was not able to build amazing things. And because of AI, that magic is now in my hands. I can build whatever I want. And so trying to enable people to do that with me, trying to enable people to build amazing things with AI, trying to teach AI is very personal to me because of that. So yeah, AI is amazing. And I'm not looking at anything, by the way. That's just a plain empty whiteboard. But yeah, so that's about it for entrepreneurship. What else can we talk about? I'm pretty passionate about YouTube. I'm trying to work on myself as a person as well. I'm still very young. So there's a lot of things that I want to focus on. For me, mainly, for the next couple of years and hopefully for the entirety of my life, I want to focus on some very, very core principles. And again, those are the two principles that my dad gave me when I asked him for advice. The first is be authentic. So how can I present myself exactly as what I am and be genuine, because people really do recognize that. And so he gave me this advice a year ago, and I've been trying to implement it in everything that I do. And I've realized that it makes life so much easier. And so that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and be authentic, especially in business. Be as authentic as possible. And not just in business, in my own relationships as well. But if I can be authentic in business, then it really, really makes things easy. You're not you're very centered and close to reality when you do that. And so I think that's something that I'm going to try and do. And the second thing is, again, providing value. How can I provide value to the people around me? And this YouTube channel is just one of the ways that I try to do that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to focus on a lot of things. I'm still trying to figure out how to manage all of this with my education. I love studying. I love the subjects that I'm studying, physics and math. I'm not too great at it, but it is what it is. So that's pretty much it for that. I'm also studying computer science, which is pretty fun since I know a lot of that already. But yeah, so that's that. What else is going on in my life? I am trying to figure out how to work without thinking of the outcome. And it is very much easier said than done, because when you are working for something, you're obviously going to expect a result. But a lot of spiritual guidance that I've gotten, and something that's written, the essence of the Bhagavad Gita is do work without expecting anything in return, because you're entitled to the work, but you're not entitled to the results. And I think that's a great philosophy. I have seen, again, I can draw parallels to a lot of accomplished individuals talking about this. I remember Michael Jordan said that if you chase a win, then sometimes you never get it. But if you put forth the work and all the attitude, then the next thing you know, it's bestowed upon you. And so that's what I'm going to try and make my core philosophy. I'm still working on this, it's very hard, but if I can do that, then I have the ability to work my ability to work exponentially increases, and my ability to overthink about it exponentially decreases. And that, I think, maximizes my probability of success in whatever I do. But again, very much easier said than done. It's very difficult because as a human, it's my natural tendency to expect something when I work for something. And if I'm putting in the hours, if I'm putting in the effort, then it's natural for me to expect something in return. But I also do understand that it's not in my hands, right? I can only focus on what's in my hands and leave everything else to a higher power, to God or to the universe. And so that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and focus on what I can do without any regard for the future. Obviously, I have the core principles in mind, again, authentic and value. But if I can do that, and if I can just focus with those core principles in mind, and I can focus on the work, focus on building businesses, focus on doing what I love, then I do hope that success follows. At least that's going to be my approach for the next 5, 10, 20 years. So yeah, that's my approach to business and to life. What else can we talk about? I'm trying to manage discipline. My sleep schedule is messed up now because, I have to study in the day, and then at night is when I get time to work on AI and entrepreneurship and YouTube. So that's a little messed up. I'm going to try and figure that out. I'm going to get back to swimming. I've stopped for a couple of months, but I'm going to try swimming again. I love swimming. It's one of my main passions. So yeah, I'm going to try and swim. That's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything else to talk to. If you guys have any ideas on the direction that I want to take on this YouTube channel, a direction that I could take, I would deeply appreciate that, because I uploaded some long courses and they were pretty successful. After that, I moved on to some shorter tutorials and they did pretty well as well. And now I'm trying to experiment. I'm still a very small YouTube channel, so I have that flexibility, and I'm trying to figure out what my audience loves best, what I love making best. So if you guys have any suggestions, any ideas, anything that you want to learn, do leave that down in the comment section. I would love to talk about those ideas and take inspiration. So yeah, that's pretty much it from my end. If you guys want to talk about anything, if you guys like this style of video, you can let me know in the comment section down below. So what else? I'm just thinking if there's anything else I want to talk about. I'm very passionate about YouTube and entrepreneurship. I have this very, very deep passion for these things. And, I look at YouTube as this magical place. It's really magical. You look at Jimmy Donaldson, like Mr. Beast. And I've been watching him since 2017 or 2018. And you look back at his old videos and you see that deep passion that he has for YouTube. And today he's the biggest creator on the planet. It's magical seeing that, anybody from anywhere in the world can achieve anything on this platform. And so YouTube is magical, and I just want to see, what my journey on it looks like. Obviously, I am very, very grateful for the journey that I've already been on. Again, it's small for, by normal standards, but for me, it's amazing, 7,700 people is just 7,735. You don't want to leave out that 35 people. They'd get upset. But 7,735 people is a huge number. That's a very large number. And I'm getting to live my dream. You know, when I was younger, I would dream about a lot of things that are happening on YouTube right now with my channel. So it's everything that comes with the journey.